So we have a bunch of new knives to check out. Starting it off, we have the new version of the TW Price REYNE. This is the larger version in Magna Cut steel. I believe they're heat treating it to 62 HRC. Beautiful harpooned blade shape with a stone washed finish, satin on the flats right here. It looks gorgeous. Titanium handle, and another thing that's different is they actually changed the liner to titanium. So the original one had a steel liner. This one does have a steel lock bar insert and has gorgeous texturing. I love it when you see good access to the lock bar with good texturing. Very, very smooth on the drop. The flipper tab, very well jimped, perfect jimping, great detent for the flipper tab, man. This is great. Super snappy, nice sound. The access to the lock bar, you know, they didn't cut it back right here, but there's plenty. It's comfortable, very easy to disengage, and very smooth, man. Damn near like completely fall shut. It basically is fall shut. It's almost a guillotine. Then you have the fuller. Now this is where I have a little bit of an issue. It's not sharp. I wish it had a sharp edge to it. Where this edge right here was nice and sharp so it could grip you back. I actually just recently talked about this on a concept knife because they did it perfectly. They made a nice sharp edge, which makes it to where you can have a tucked in fuller like this without worrying about slipping out of it. So I would love to see that sharpened up a bit. That would massively improve the whole deployment of this knife. Can you do it? Yeah, you can do it, but it'd be way better if it was sharper. Beautiful ergonomics. Love the ergos. It does have a titanium backspacer and pocket clip. You know, the liner is a sub liner lock, so it's screwed in on the inside. And then the show side has a lot of milling on it. Phenomenal action with that flipper tab. Like I said, very ergonomic. You can choke up. This blade shape's going to work great for most things. So yeah, man, this is pretty damn cool. The clip is good. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna be mad at that. That's a good clip. Plenty of spring, plenty of ramp. You know, I got my thicker jeans on, and if they go in them, then they'll go into anything smoothly. So, yeah. Anyways, the nitpicks that I have is the one is sharp control and plunge grind could be a little bit better. This one's not horrible, but it definitely could be a little bit better. They started it here, ended it here, so you got like 2 sharpenings before you hit the plunge grind. But it just depends on how low you put your angle, right? If you put a nice low edge angle on here, like I probably would, you're gonna hit it sooner than later. So I would prefer this to be more opened up to where you can sharpen it with a lot of room in, you know, to remove steel. So plunge grind could be better, sharpening tool and plunge grind. And then the next thing, like I said, the whole deployment could have a sharper edge on it. That would definitely improve the action as far as the whole deployment goes. Other than that, this is a good looking knife. Solid lockup, rock solid. Yeah. It's not only just a good looking knife, but this is a damn good knife. It is very well done. You know, I have very minimal tiny nitpicks, but all in all, man, this would make an amazing user. It's a great size. The action's ridiculous, and yeah, he does a good job with his designs. And if these little details are manipulated, my goodness, this thing has a lot going for it. This should be available in the next month or 2. So the next one is from Trivisa. We have the Trivisa Corvus with a drop point blade, beautiful geometry, very thin, 14C 28M blade steel, flipping action with a button lock action with a flipper and hole deployment. Ooh, that hole is tough. The handle is micarta on this one. There is other, versions though. I think you get it in green or tan. Deep carry clip that is reversible. T8 hardware. Love to see that, except for the clip. The clip is T6s. So, blade steel, love the blade steel, love the geometry. Ergonomics is, pretty damn good. It definitely has it puts you into a specific grip, but it works. I feel like I could plunge it into something. I feel like I could comfortably slice with it. Pinch grips are going to be good. So yeah, I think the ergos are great. Detent on the flipper tab is amazing. It's freaking amazing. I mean, this thing, you're not going to fail this. That is a beautiful detent. Snap, listen to this. Now the problem is that the hole, because it has a strong detent, that hole is nearly impossible. I could probably, yeah, I can flick it off, oh, maybe not. Yeah, mine just got too strong of a detent for a hole that high. This hole needs to be moved down to right here. If it was right here, this would be perfect. Like, look, that's where my finger wants to land, right there. But up here, it's just too tight to the pivot, so it makes it so it's too strong. You can hear this detent too. I like that. I love the detent, man. They did a great job, but that hole deployment is just up too high for me. So yeah, for me, this would be a deal breaker because I don't want a hole deployment that I just can't use. Even if it had a lighter detent, I wouldn't like it. It's too close to this corner right here for me. I'm hitting it. Now, if you like the style and all you care about is the flipper and you don't mind the hole deployment being just for display, then hey, this is pretty damn cool. Yeah, so let's get to the next one, which is another Trivisa. This one is the Trivisa. This one is the Trivisa Apis. Now, I said before that I don't think it's a good idea for companies to do this style pocket knives. And the reason why is because there are so many knives on Amazon that say they are handmade custom folding knives and they're from Pakistan with Pakistani Damascus, and this looks like one of those. So it's not good to look like something people should avoid, but this is not that. So this is different. This has a 110 layer Damascus. I think it's a 10 CR. Yeah, 10 CR Damascus. I like 10 CR Damascus. I have tested it. It tests very well, at least from the company that I tested it on. I haven't tested these guys', but it usually is pretty good. Then we have a scroll work on these bolsters. There is other versions though, other color options, other handle materials. You have bone, there's, I believe, carbon fiber. There's a lot of different flavors with this one. This one is the epoxy and wood, which does look beautiful. A lot of things look beautiful about this, but that's the problem, is that the knives that you see all over the internet that look like this wind up being considered very cheap and crappy. And that's what this is going to be considered by knife guys. Now, is it? No, this is great. Great detent. The hole deployment has a nice fuller on it. It's easy to get to, easy to flick. Ergonomics are good. You can choke up. Clip point blade shape is very, very pokey. This is going to be great for self-defense and utility cutting. Super damn pokey. You don't want to drop this thing. You will break that tip. The clip definitely stands out as a budget clip. So, all in all, yeah, I would say, I wouldn't do it. Even though it's great, man. It is great, but I just couldn't do it because it looks so much like those cheap Pakistani Damascus folding knives that they say are handmade. Next is a new version of the Raccoon. I freaking dig the Raccoon. I've always loved the Raccoon. It's one of the better budget knives you could buy, and I love this thumb stud. Not only does it look good being the blue it is, but this is a perfect thumb stud in my opinion. It's removable. It has nice texturing. It sits nice and proud. So the access to it, man, this is great. You can just hear it. You can whack this thing out with authority. Satin finish on the spear spear point or drop point 14C28M blade. Beautiful satin finish. They did a good job with the edge. Beautiful job with the sharpening tool and plunge grind. Micarta scales on this one. This knife does come in a lot of different flavors and options. Reversible deep carry clip that's inset with flat screws. Damn it, they did a good job with this one. They did such a good job with the Raccoon, man. It doesn't matter which one you get. I got so many different versions and I love them all. Very ergonomic, man. It just melts in your hand. You can choke up. This is like I said, one of the better budget knives you could buy. The Raccoon, absolutely amazing. Now, the Corgi, now with a sheep's foot blade. Look at that. So it originally comes with a drop point blade, now with a sheep's foot. This is very fidgety. This one has steel liners, G10 scales. There is a lot of different flavors with this one as well, like we always see from Boss Steed. We have, I believe, a titanium plate here. I'm not sure. It could be steel. Actually, no. It's probably steel. So, but it does have a reversible deep carry clip with inset with flat screws. Love to see that. And then you have a front flipper that's very easy to do the reach over or the side finger or the regular thumb flick. It has somewhat of a lighter detent, but it's kind of designed to be that way. So it winds up being super fidgety, and you can do the button gravity flick. But the handle and blade, see how they're the same thickness? So the blade sits perfectly inside the handle, which, you know, does make for a phenomenal carry where you're not going to have to worry about feeling this thing. You know, it's just great size. It's still a full-size knife. You can get a full 4-finger grip. You can carry it, or sorry, hold it in any grip because of these very neutral handles. The blade steel's 14C28N. Geometry, you know, is good geometry. It's not too thin, but it's also not thick. It's, yeah, not that there is too thin, but you know what I mean. It's not super thin, but it's also not super thick. Yeah, I like the Corgi. I do like the Corgi. Corgi's cool. Like I said, there's a lot of different flavors with it, so you can kind of pick your poison. But, yeah, the only negative I really have is, you know, and it'd probably be the same thing on this one, is T6s. I wish there was T8s. This one's plunge grind could be a little bit better, but I'm not too worried about it on this one. Really quick, we have a couple new pens. Now, there's something unique about this that I've never seen on a pen like this. Maybe I haven't, I just can't remember, but we have, I believe, an aluminum handle with a bolt action, which does work really well. You obviously have a glass breaker on the back on both of them. And you can see when you push the bolt out, you can see the pen does come out. It is very pokey too. And the unique feature on this is that this comes off. You unscrew this, and then there is a little blade on the inside of there. I went on their Kickstarter site and I did see that the way it works is you flip the blade into the inside right here and it becomes like a seatbelt cutter. So you want to push this little tab through this little hole, which it doesn't feel like it's going to fit. That's why I never would have even thought of that. And then, so now it's basically a seat belt cutter. You know, where you can just catch the seatbelt and pull. I don't know how useful this is. I don't know if I think this is a good idea. You know, when you're putting too many things into one thing, nothing can be good, right? Everything has to be mediocre in order for it to work. So typically, you know, a glass breaker is not a big deal. I can understand that on a pen, you know, but I don't know. I don't think that this would be a very useful thing to most people. Could it come in hand? Yeah, it could, but I don't see anybody actually using it. And you would have to walk around with it with the blade, because in a situation where you need to cut the seatbelt, you're not going to have time to do what I just did. Like, you might as well carry a pocket knife. But let's say you can't, and you have to carry this. Well, now you don't put this in your pocket, so you can't carry it around in your pocket. So you'd have to, like, leave it in your car, just sitting there, you know, in a glove box or something. So, yeah, I would, pen, it does not write very well, in my opinion. I think that this is a very scratchy pen. So it's super thin. The ink is not thick. So it feels like you're almost tearing into the paper. It's very sharp. So I think the pen is just a little too pokey for me as far as being a pen goes. So, you know, hey, they tried. I personally am not a fan, but I also don't know how that little blade works. And, you know, that's kind of annoying. But then, like I said, you know, I wouldn't even really use the pen because there are so much more nicer pens out there. It at least has to write well, right? Anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.